Hi everyone, it's Michelle. Welcome back. So today I thought I would do the very late ride or die tag. I think Jaclyn Hill was the one who originated this tag. I'm going to do mine a little bit differently only because I'm going to talk about if there's a category where I just don't have a absolute favorite item, I'm not going to like just put one in there because I don't want you to think like this is my absolute favorite item in that category. So I'm going to skip those categories, but I'm going to talk about today the products that I use every day or almost every day that are absolutely my favorite that I just wouldn't be without. Now, I think in her tag and a lot of other people's tags, they talk about if I was going to a deserted island. These are not the products I would bring with me if I were going to a deserted island. I would bring very simple makeup that would last through, you know, heat and humidity and that kind of thing. And what I'm going to talk about are my favorites in some of these categories. So let's jump right in and get started. I am going to talk about a couple of skincare items only because I do have a couple of items that are really, really favorites of mine, and I tend to switch around in a lot of my skincare and test things all the time, but a couple of these products are just products that I love. So I'm going to talk about a couple of skincare items. I'm not sure Jaclyn Hill actually talked about skincare items, but I am. So let's get started. And the first one is an exfoliator and this is a chemical exfoliator, but I love the Sunday Riley Good Genes treatment. This is a great alpha hydroxy acid that is awesome for, you know, brightening the skin, refining the skin, and it also does help plump the skin. So this, you know, one of the things that's really important is that your skin stays smooth so it looks good all the time, and by using something like this, it, you know, encourages cell turnover and that kind of thing, and I think this is really, really effective for the money. And I do think that it is gentle enough for most people to use. I think if you're really, really sensitive, you might not be able to use it, or you might not be able to use it every day, but I love this. I also love the Drunk Elephant C-firma Day Serum. This is my favorite vitamin C serum. I've tried so many. This one is really, really great. First of all, I love that the packaging is, you know, airless. I don't love that you can't tell how much is left in it, but this is a go-to for me. I love it. I use it every day. It is L-ascorbic acid version of C. It's got some pumpkin ferment in it and some other things that increase hydration as well. So I love this and wouldn't be without it. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about my daytime moisturizer, and I talk about this all the time, but honestly, I would not want to be without this for days when I wear makeup, and it is the Benigma All-in-One Face Cream. This is a thicker cream, so you do have to emulsify it between your fingers and press it into the skin, but there is something about this that just makes my skin look so smooth under makeup that on days when I don't use it, I always regret it. So love this stuff. And yes, it is a heavier cream, but it does absorb into the skin. I don't have any issues with my skin getting oily or greasy, and I have combination skin, sort of normal. My T-zone can get a little bit oily. My skin tends to get dehydrated, but I don't really have dry skin. But I do love this. I continue to purchase this over and over and over, and I continue to talk about it because I just love it. I regret it on days when I don't use it under my makeup. So, all right, now let's get into the makeup. I do have a favorite primer. The reason I use a primer is to minimize my pores mostly, and this one does a fantastic job of that, and it is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer, and this is the smoothing version. It's the one in the gray tube. I'm almost out. I gotta get another one soon because I'm like squeezing to get every last bit out. This for me works brilliantly in my T-zone to just rid my face of pores. My makeup goes on very smoothly over it. It's not so silicone-y that your makeup balls up or anything. I don't have that problem at all with this one. So I'm in love with this. This is it comes in two sizes. This is the half size. I will say that Makeup Forever doesn't charge more for the smaller one. You know, a lot of times if you buy the smaller one on a price per ounce basis, it's more expensive. This is not. I actually think you could buy two smaller ones for less than the bigger one and have more product. So I don't know. Love this stuff though. If I'm gonna pick one Foundation, it's definitely going to be the IT Cosmetics CC Plus. I don't like the illumination version of this. I just like the original version of this, but this has an SPF in it. You know, I do tend to use an additional SPF as well, just because you're not putting on enough of this to get the 50, or if you are, it's going to be thick. But I love this. I love how it wears. I love how it looks. I do wish they had more colors for people, because the color selection is very limited. I think there's only 4 colors or 3 colors, but for me, I can wear the light. It looks, you know, it looks great on my skin. I just keep going back to this. I really, really love this. For setting powder, I like, so to set my foundation in my T-zone, that's the only place I will set foundation. I love the Laura Geller Balance and Brighten foundation. So this is a powder foundation, but I love this for setting my T-zone. It does a couple of things. It's really good at hiding pores, and it gives just a little extra coverage. So I typically don't have to use any concealer on my face, because this will give me just a little extra coverage in my T-zone where I have redness. It will also help hide pores and that kind of thing. I love this stuff. You know, I've had this for a long time, and I don't know, it just never seemed to work right for me. And then I saw Wayne Goss talk about it, and I saw him put it on his skin, and it looked really amazing. And so I got mine out again and just buffed it a little more than I ever did before, and now I just love how this looks. I have tried her, just as a side note, she now makes a different foundation that's more like a color choice versus this sort of, you know, swirled version, and I don't like that one as well at all. As a matter of fact, I returned it because I didn't feel like it laid as pretty on the skin as this does. Love this stuff. Okay, for concealer under my eyes, I've tried so many, and I always go back to this one, and it is the Chanel Corrector Perfection. I wear the color 31, but this is just a doe foot under eye long wearing concealer. It works amazing under my eyes. It doesn't crease. It's lightweight enough that it doesn't look cakey. It lasts all day. It's a long wear. I don't know that it's waterproof, but it's definitely long wearing. And you can use this on your face as well. It's an overall concealer, but I typically don't add concealer unless I've got a real bad situation going on my face. But I really do love this, and it lasts a long time because you only need a little bit. I do also set my under eye concealer just to make that skin look really, really smooth. And I was for a while. I went through a whole container of the RMS Unpowder, and I do love that stuff. But I wanted to use up my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I will say that when this is applied with a damp sponge, for me, it works just as well as the RMS Unpowder. So I have a couple of these that I need to go through, and they're really, really nice. I also like it for if I just need to set a specific area of my face. You can definitely do that with a brush with this. It's a really nice, very finely milled, lightweight powder that I don't think if you have really dark skin you could use this, because while it's translucent, it is still, you know, it's still a light color, and I think that on really dark skin you probably wouldn't be able to use this, but on medium skin you'd be fine as well. But this stuff is really nice. If you haven't tried it, it's a really nice product. Okay, let's go to bronzer. I've talked about this. You guys know what's coming. This is the Armani Sun Fabric Bronzer. I've gone through many of these. I've also hit pan on this one again. I wear the color 100. It's a beautiful, just neutral, you know, it's just a soft neutral brown. It has a slight sheen to it. It doesn't really transfer to the skin though. I love how this wears on the skin. It comes in several colors, so if you have darker skin you could get a darker one. I love it. It comes with its own little brush, for those of you who aren't familiar. I don't really use this. I typically just buff it on. I don't contour with this. I just kind of warm up the sides of my face, you know, try and contour slightly under my chin just to give me a stronger jawline. But this is I've gone through so many of these. And I know a lot of people have a lot of different bronzers. This is the only one I own, really, because it's the one I reach for all the time, so I just don't even buy them anymore because I love this one so much. My favorite blush, this probably won't be a surprise either because I talk about this one all the time, is a MAC Mineralized blush, and it is in the color New Romance. It's just a beautiful, soft, peachy pink. It has a slight sheen to it, which I love. There's no glitter in this blush at all. It's just really, really pretty. I wear this blush almost every day. I mean, it just, I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful, it's more peachy, I think, but it's neutral enough you could wear it with just about anything. And I love that there's a sheen because then I don't need to add a highlighter because there's just enough of a sheen that it's really, really pretty on the skin. So I constantly reach for that. I'm not a huge fan of all MAC blushes, but their mineralized blushes are really nice. They lay beautifully on the skin. They're super soft, and it's a great price point. I love them. Okay, so let's go to eyes. I will talk about a couple of things. I do have a favorite eye primer. I use different eye primers, but if I do have a favorite, and it is the MAC Prep and Prime, what is this called? 24-hour extended eye base. I don't know if it would last 24 hours, but I love this. It's clear. I do wish it was tinted, but this is my favorite. It's a silicone base eye primer. If you haven't tried it, what I like about it is that it's just it comes out white, but it goes on the skin clear. It is, it's a silicone, I'm almost certain it's a silicone base. I'm guessing yeah, I will notate here. I'm pretty sure this is a silicone base, but what I love about it is it smooths your lids really nicely. If you have crepey lids like I do, I have crepey lids, I need something that is going to smooth them and make the skin, you know, because when you put eye makeup on rough skin, it just, you know, it doesn't look good. This smooths the skin very nicely and works really, really well as an eye base. So my, you know, shadows don't crease all day. Again, I haven't tried it for 24 hours, but this is my go-to. It comes in a tube that's 0.4 fluid ounces, which is a ton of product. You will have this forever. This is my favorite. The one I go to when I need my eyes to look really, really good. And then if my eyelids are particularly red that day or whatever, I'll just use a little bit of concealer over it or a little foundation over it to sort of neutralize any redness I have before I use shadows. Speaking of shadows, if I had to pick one palette as my favorite, it would be an easy choice for me, and it is the Viseart matte neutral palette. I love this. I wear all of the colors in this palette, not so much the gray one very often, but I wear all of them. They go on beautifully, they blend beautifully, they wear beautifully. For me, this warm, it leans a little warm. There are some cool tones in it, but most of the shadows in here for me lean warm, and I love that. So for me, this is perfect. I think it's worth the money. Yes, they are expensive, but if you can get it during the VIB sale. Also, it is $80, I think is what the current price is, but it's a ton of product. And like, it will take me forever to go through this, but I wear it all the time. It's all mattes. I love that. Again, if I were going to a deserted island, I wouldn't choose this because I would want something that has a little more variety in it. But for me, for my everyday, my absolute favorite palette, this has to be it, hands down, no questions. Love it. So I do have a favorite eyeliner. I don't typically use a pencil liner on my lash line. I will either use a shadow, I'll put a shadow on with like an angled brush, or I will go without, but I always line my upper waterline just to make my lashes look thicker and to give my eyes a little bit more definition. And my favorite pencil for that is the Chanel Stilo Waterproof. So these, I've talked about these for years. These are my favorite from Chanel. It's a very waxy pencil, but once it sets, it's not going anywhere. This is the Noir Intense, so it's very, very black. There's also a different black called Ebene or Ebene, which is a softer black. It comes in many, many colors, and they're always doing limited edition colors of this as well. For me, this stays on. It doesn't transfer to my lower lash line. It's there at the end of the day. It's easy to put on. I just love it. I love that it comes with a little sharpener in the end, so if I want the pencil to be a little bit more fine point, easy to do, it's all right here in one little item. So that is definitely a favorite. That Chanel pencil, those Chanel pencils have been my favorite for as long as I can remember. They've been my favorite. I had to think about the mascara because I do use a couple of different ones, but if I had to pick my absolute favorite, it still is the MAC Upward Lash. Yeah, Upward Lash mascara. And the reason that I would choose it is it's a really nice mascara. I'm wearing everything I've talked about today, by the way. And the brush is so tiny, which some people won't like, but I love because you can get all the way into the base of your lashes and really lift them up. I would say for me, this is more of a volumizing and, you know, lifting mascara than a lengthening mascara, but that's okay with me. It's definitely a fave. It's the one I go to all the time. Love this. And it is super black, so that is what I'm wearing today. What else? If I had to pick one makeup setting spray, the one I would honestly pick, and I don't even have a full size of it, but I'm going to have to buy one because this is my last. I've had so many of these little ones. This is the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix. This is my favorite. I like it better than Fix Plus. I do think it works really nicely. I don't believe there's any alcohol in this one either. So it does give a little bit of moisture to the skin, and it's non-drying. Let me see if there's any alcohol in here. Yeah, I don't think there's any alcohol in this at all. There is a little bit of fragrance in it, but nothing overpowering. I really love the way this works. I always buy the little ones because the sprayer on the little ones is so nice. It gives such a fine mist on your skin. And then they're easy to travel with or to throw in your purse or whatever. So I really like this as my makeup setting spray. This would be my favorite. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is fragrance, because I do have a favorite fragrance, and I've talked about this many times as well. This does not change because this is my go-to fragrance. It's sort of my signature scent, and it is by Guerlain. It is not something that you can buy at every Guerlain counter. It is from their Elixir Charnel line. The name of the fragrance is Gourmand Coquin, and I've talked about this many, many times. This is my favorite fragrance. It is a very soft, sweet, boozy fragrance. It's not sweet like little girl sweet or over the candy sweet. The notes in this are like, there's a little bit of rose, but it's mostly chocolate, pepper. It has a really boozy note in it. So it's like, what else do you need, right? It's a little bit spicy with the pepper, and then there's this chocolate and rum fragrance. I love this. And it's light enough that it isn't going to offend anybody when you walk in a room or anything, even if you use it pretty heavily. But you're not going to smell like everybody else. It's a very unique scent, and I get complimented on it quite a bit. People will say, "Oh my gosh, you smell so good. What are you wearing?" So I love it. It's so soft and pretty, and what's not to love about some chocolate and rum? Sign me up. So those really are my favorites for what I'm using right now. These are products I reach for almost every single day, and if all my other products were to go away, I could definitely function with what I've shown you today, and I wouldn't be in a panic about it. I wouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, now I'm really upset about it. I mean, I love having options when it comes to makeup, but these items are really, really true favorites for me. So hopefully you found this helpful. Share with us in the comments if any of these are your favorites, or if they're not, maybe pick a couple of categories and share with us what your favorites are in that category. I love hearing about fragrance, especially from people, and also about some of the powders, setting powders, translucent powders. I love testing all kinds of new things when it comes to powders as well. So that is it for today. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you again soon.